The blue light of the emergency call woke Commander Alex Forrest from his sleep. He rubbed his eyes and reached for the flashing screen on his bedside table. It was 3:15 a.m. according to the standard Earth clock in his quarters on Europa Station. "Commander Forrest," he answered, his voice still rough from sleep. "Sir, we have a priority message from Earth Defense Headquarters," said the voice of his second-in-command, Lieutenant Kate Miller. "They're requesting your presence in the comm room immediately." Alex swung his legs off the bed. "I'll be there in 5 minutes." He quickly dressed in his uniform, splashed cold water on his face, and made his way through the quiet corridors of the station. Europa Station, built beneath the icy surface of Jupiter's moon, served as humanity's forward observation post. From here, they monitored the outer solar system for any signs of extraterrestrial activity. When Alex entered the comm room, Kate stood at attention beside the main console. The large screen showed the stern face of Admiral George Winters. "Commander Forrest reporting, sir," Alex said, straightening his posture. "Commander, we have a situation," Admiral Winters said without greeting. "At 0100 hours, our deep space relay network picked up a transmission from a previously unknown species, calling themselves the Zentari. They're requesting formal diplomatic relations with Earth." Alex felt his heart rate quicken. After decades of searching the stars, humanity had encountered other intelligent species before, but each new contact was still a momentous occasion. "What do we know about them, sir?" he asked. "They appear to be a highly advanced civilization. Their ship is currently holding position just beyond Neptune's orbit. From what our linguists have gathered from their initial communication, they're a logical, scientifically minded species." Alex nodded. "And what are my orders, sir?" "The Security Council has authorized implementation of the evaluation protocol," the Admiral said. Alex tried to keep his expression neutral, but he couldn't help the slight raising of his eyebrows. The evaluation protocol was one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets. Few people even knew it existed. "I understand, sir," he replied. "When will they arrive at Europa?" "Their ship will reach your position in approximately 72 hours. Dr. Lisa Everett is already on her way from Earth to oversee the technical aspects. She'll arrive tomorrow on the transport shuttle." Alex knew Dr. Everett by reputation only. The brilliant creator of the most advanced human simulation program ever developed. A program so realistic that even some humans couldn't tell the difference between the simulations and real people. "Your mission, Commander," continued the Admiral, "is to oversee the evaluation protocol. The Zentari representatives will interact with Dr. Everett's simulations, believing they are meeting with actual human diplomats. Your team will monitor every interaction, assess their responses, and determine their true intentions." "And they have no idea this is a test?" Alex asked. "None," the Admiral confirmed. "As far as they're concerned, they're meeting with Earth's diplomatic corps. The simulation will present them with a series of scenarios designed to test how they handle different aspects of human behavior. Our emotions, our unpredictability, our conflicts." Alex felt a twinge of unease. "Deception isn't the most honest way to begin diplomatic relations, sir." The Admiral's expression hardened. "Commander, we've had this discussion before. The safety of Earth comes first. We need to know how they react to human behavior before we risk actual human lives. If they pass the test, then we can move forward with genuine relations." "Yes, sir, I understand." "Good. You'll receive the full briefing package within the hour." "Admiral Winters out." The screen went dark. Alex turned to Kate, who had remained silent during the exchange. "Well, Lieutenant," he said with a slight smile, "it looks like we're about to see how well aliens can handle humans at their most human." Kate nodded. "Should be interesting, sir. I'll start preparing the monitoring station." As she left, Alex stared out the viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the Zentari were approaching, unaware that they were about to face humanity's hidden test, a test that would determine if they were worthy of meeting the real thing. Dr. Lisa Everett arrived at Europa Station the next morning. She stepped out of the transport shuttle carrying only a small case and a data tablet. Her short brown hair was tied back neatly, and her lab coat looked slightly wrinkled from the long journey. Alex met her at the airlock. "Dr. Everett, welcome To Europa. She shook his hand firmly. Commander Forrest, please call me Lisa. I understand we have less than 48 hours to prepare. That's right. The Zentari ship is approaching faster than expected. Lisa nodded. Then let's get to work. I'll need to set up the simulation room and run diagnostics on all systems. They walked through the station's corridors while Lisa explained her creation. The simulation is our most advanced yet. We've designed 127 different personality types that can interact with each other in countless ways. They're programmed to display the full range of human emotions: joy, anger, sadness, humor, even jealousy and love. And they pass as human? Alex asked. Even I sometimes forget they're not real, Lisa replied with a small smile. They have memories, personal histories, family connections. They can tell stories about their childhood, share opinions on politics, even argue about sports. Teams. They entered a large circular room filled with monitors and control panels. This would be their command center for the test. From here, we control everything the Zentari experience, Lisa said. She walked to the central console and began typing commands. The simulated diplomats they meet will be indistinguishable from real humans. But there's something important you should know. Alex raised an eyebrow. What's that? The simulations are designed with subtle flaws, small inconsistencies in behavior that might go unnoticed by most species. It's part of the test. If the Zentari are truly observant, truly trying to understand humans, they might pick up on these clues. And if they do? Lisa paused her typing. Then they'll have passed one of the hardest parts of the test. It shows they're not just looking at us superficially, but trying to understand us deeply. Over the next day, Lisa worked tirelessly to prepare the simulation. She activated the AI constructs one by one, testing their responses and interactions. The lead simulation was named Daniel Carter, a middle-aged diplomat with a warm smile and years of experience in the State Department, or so his memories told him. Daniel's personality is based on 7 of our best human diplomats, Lisa explained to Alex as they watched Daniel interact with other simulations in a practice run. He's patient, understanding, but firm when needed. He'll be the primary contact for the Zentari delegation. Kate Miller entered the room. Commander, we've received confirmation. The Zentari ship is requesting permission to dock. They'll be here in 6 hours. Alex turned to Lisa. Are we ready? She checked her screens one last time. The simulation room is prepared. All systems are functioning normally. The constructs are operating at peak efficiency. She looked up at him. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Alex nodded. Then let's welcome our guests. The Zentari delegation consisted of 3 members. Ambassador Krell stood nearly 7 feet tall, with smooth gray skin and large, intelligent eyes. His hands had 6 slender fingers each. Science Officer Ven was shorter, but broader, with the same gray skin but darker markings around his face. Cultural Specialist Tara was the smallest of the 3, her movements graceful and deliberate. As they entered the diplomatic chamber, Daniel Carter stepped forward, with a warm smile. Ambassador Krell, welcome to Europa Station. I'm Daniel Carter, Earth's Chief Diplomatic Officer for this sector. It's an honor to meet you. The Zentari bowed slightly. The honor is ours, Mr. Carter. We have studied your species with great interest. Your diversity and adaptability are remarkable qualities. From behind the monitors, Alex and Lisa watched every movement, every word. The test had begun. They seemed genuinely interested in us, Alex observed quietly. Lisa nodded, her eyes fixed on the screens. Yes, now let's see how they handle our less predictable qualities. As Daniel led the Zentari delegation to their seats, Lisa's fingers danced across her console. The real challenge was about to begin, and the Zentari had no idea they were about to face humanity's hidden test. The first test began during a formal dinner. The simulated diplomats joined the Zentari delegation in the main dining hall. Daniel Carter sat at the head of the table, with Ambassador Krell to his right. Other simulated humans filled the remaining seats, each programmed with their own quirks and behaviors. We hope you find our food acceptable, Daniel said, gesturing to the plates of various Earth dishes. We've tried to prepare meals that accommodate different dietary requirements. Ambassador, Krell examined the food carefully. We appreciate your consideration. The Zentari can process most organic matter, though we prefer plant-based nutrients. Lisa watched from the control room as one of the simulated diplomats, Dr. Amy Brooks, knocked over her glass of water. It spilled across the table, soaking some documents placed near Ambassador Krell. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," Amy exclaimed, jumping to her feet. Her face turned red with embarrassment. "I'm such a klutz sometimes." Alex leaned forward to watch the Zentari's reaction. This was the first test. How would they handle human accidents and emotional displays? Ambassador Krell calmly picked up the wet papers. "Please do not distress yourself, Dr. Brooks. Accidents are part of life's learning process." He turned to Science Officer Venn, who quickly produced a drying device from his uniform. "Interesting," Lisa murmured. "They're showing patience with her embarrassment." The next test came during a discussion about resource allocation. Daniel presented a hypothetical scenario where Earth and the Zentari would need to share a newly discovered mineral deposit. "Our analysis shows we would need 60% of the deposit to meet our current energy needs," Daniel stated firmly. One of the simulated diplomats, Marcus Chen, suddenly interrupted. "That's ridiculous. We should get at least 70%. We discovered it first." Daniel shot Marcus a sharp look. "Marcus, please let me finish." "No, I'm tired of always compromising." Marcus stood up, his chair scraping loudly. "These aliens show up and suddenly we're supposed to share everything." The room fell silent. Lisa had programmed this emotional outburst carefully. It was designed to test how the Zentari handled human conflict and irrational behavior. Cultural specialist Tara spoke softly. "Mr. Chen, we understand your concerns. Perhaps we could discuss a solution that benefits both our peoples." Marcus sat down, still looking angry. Ambassador Krell turned to Daniel. "We believe a 40-60 split in Earth's favor would be fair, given your prior claim to the region." Alex was impressed. "They're not taking advantage of our internal conflict, and they're offering a better deal than what Daniel suggested," Lisa added. The test continued over the next few days. Sometimes the simulations would laugh loudly at jokes the Zentari couldn't understand. Other times they would express sadness about personal losses or excitement about trivial things. Each reaction was carefully monitored. During a trade negotiation, one simulation broke down crying, claiming the proposed terms would hurt her family's business. Science Officer Venn spent an hour listening to her concerns and adjusting the proposal to address them. One afternoon, two simulated diplomats got into a heated argument about ancient history right in front of the Zentari. They yelled, gestured wildly, and even threatened to leave the negotiations. Ambassador Krell watched silently, then spoke when both humans paused for breath. "On Zentari we have a saying, the past shapes us but need not divide us. Perhaps we could focus on our shared future instead." The arguing diplomats looked sheepish and apologized. The meeting continued productively. From the control room, Lisa made notes. "They're not just patient with our emotional displays, they're trying to help resolve our conflicts." Alex nodded. "And they haven't once tried to exploit our divisions." As the week progressed, the tests became more subtle. The simulations showed inconsistencies in their stories, forgot details they had mentioned earlier, or gave contradictory information. Most species would overlook these minor flaws, but Lisa wanted to see if the Zentari would notice. During a casual conversation about Earth cuisine, Daniel mentioned loving sushi from his childhood in Iowa. Later, he talked about growing up in a fishing village in Japan. Ambassador Krell's large eyes narrowed slightly at the contradiction, but he said nothing. He simply made a mental note, one of many he was beginning to compile. The crisis scenario began at 500 hours on the morning of the 12th day. Lisa had spent all night programming the sequence, making sure every detail would appear realistic. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Daniel Carter burst into the Zentari quarters, his face pale with worry. Ambassador Krell, we need your help, he said, breathing heavily. There's been a catastrophic failure in our life support systems. The oxygen recyclers are shutting down throughout the station. The Zentari delegation quickly followed Daniel to the main control room. Other simulated diplomats were already there, some panicking openly. I don't want to die here, Marcus Chen shouted, slamming his fist on a console. There must be something we can do. Dr. Amy Brooks sat in a corner, tears streaming down her face. I have 2 children at home. I'll never see them again. Science. Officer Venn immediately approached the main computer terminal. May I examine your systems? He asked Daniel calmly. The Zentari have experience with life support technology. Daniel nodded quickly. Yes, please. We're all going to suffocate. If we don't fix this soon. From the real control room, Alex watched the chaos unfold. They're handling the crisis much better than our simulations. Lisa monitored her screens carefully. This is where most species show their true nature. Fear brings out the best or worst in people. Ambassador Krell directed his team with precise, calm instructions. Venn, focus on the primary systems. Tara, help calm the humans. Their emotional state is impairing their ability to function. Cultural specialist Tara moved among the panicking diplomats, speaking in soothing tones. Please, everyone, take deep breaths. Panic only consumes more oxygen. We will solve this problem together. Meanwhile, one of the simulations, a young engineer named Kevin, started hyperventilating. He clutched his chest and fell to his knees. I can't breathe. The air is running out. Tara knelt beside him. She placed her 6-fingered hand on his shoulder. Listen to my voice, Kevin. The air is still flowing. Your fear is causing this reaction. Count with me. 1, 2, 3. As Tara calmed the panicking human, Venn worked at the computer. His fingers moved quickly over the controls, but his expression remained focused and calm. I believe I've identified the problem, Venn announced after several minutes. Your system has encountered a cascade failure in the backup processors. However, we can reroute through the auxiliary systems. Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead. Can you fix it? We can assist, but we need your engineers to execute the commands. Our physiology makes it difficult to operate your manual controls. Lisa raised her eyebrows. Clever. They're finding a way to help without taking over completely. For the next hour, the Zentari worked alongside the simulated humans. Despite the apparent crisis, not once did they assume control or issue demands. They offered suggestions, provided technical knowledge, and most importantly, kept everyone. Calm Amy Brooks suddenly collapsed, claiming she felt dizzy from lack of oxygen. Ambassador Krell immediately took charge of her care, checking her vital signs with a portable medical scanner. Her oxygen levels are normal, he reported to Daniel. This appears to be a panic response. From the control room, Alex noticed something. Lisa, did you program Amy to have normal oxygen levels during this simulation? Lisa frowned at her console. No, she should be showing decreased levels. The Zentari scanner must be quite advanced. Finally, Venn announced, the repair sequence is complete. Life support should return to normal function momentarily. The alarm stopped. The red light switched off. The simulated humans cheered and hugged each other. Several approached the Zentari to thank them. You saved us all, Daniel said, shaking Ambassador Krell's hand. We're in your debt. Krell bowed slightly. We merely assisted. Your people performed the actual repairs. In a crisis, cooperation between species is essential. As the diplomats began to disperse, Ambassador Krell lingered behind. He approached a computer terminal and studied the emergency logs. His large eyes narrowed as he examined the data. Something wrong, Ambassador? Daniel asked. Creel turned slowly. The logs show an unusual pattern, almost as if the system failure was designed to occur in a specific sequence. Daniel maintained his programmed smile. System malfunctions can create strange patterns sometimes. Krell nodded politely, but his expression remained thoughtful as he left the control room. Later that evening, Ambassador Krell sat alone in his quarters reviewing notes on his datapad. The door chimed softly, and Science Officer Venn entered. You requested to see me, Ambassador? Krell gestured for Ven to sit. Tell me, Ven, what have you observed during our stay here? Ven settled into a chair. The humans are interesting. Their emotional responses are far more varied than our research indicated, and their behavior patterns seem to follow an almost mathematical precision at times. Precisely, Krell said, tapping his datapad. Today, during the crisis, Dr. Brooks's oxygen levels were normal despite her apparent distress. And Daniel Carter. Have you noticed how he sometimes forgets details he mentioned earlier? I have, Ven nodded. Yesterday he spoke of his sister Emma. Today he mentioned being an only child. In the monitoring room, Lisa sat upright. They're catching on. Faster than I expected. Alex leaned closer to the screens. Should we shut it down? Not yet, Lisa replied. I want to see where this goes. The next morning, during a breakfast meeting, the Zentari carefully observed every interaction. Ambassador Krell asked seemingly innocent questions that probed for inconsistencies. Daniel, you mentioned your love for sushi yesterday. Where did you develop such taste? Daniel smiled automatically. My mother was Japanese. She taught me to appreciate traditional cuisine. Interesting, Krell replied. You mentioned growing up in Iowa? Yes, we moved there when I was young. Krell nodded politely, but exchanged a quick glance with Ven. This contradicted Daniel's earlier story about living in a Japanese fishing village. That afternoon, an unexpected incident occurred. A message arrived from Earth Defense Command marked Priority Alpha. Lisa hadn't programmed this, it was genuine. Commander Forrest, the message read, increase testing difficulty immediately. The Zentari are performing beyond expected parameters. We need to push them further to truly understand their capabilities. Alex felt uncomfortable with the order. They've already proven themselves, he told Lisa. They're patient, cooperative, and haven't once tried to exploit our weaknesses. Lisa shook her head. Orders are orders. I'll implement Phase 2 of the stress test. The next simulation involved a security breach. One of the simulated diplomats, supposedly driven mad by space sickness, accessed classified Earth defense files and offered to share them with the Zentari. Think of what your people could do with this information, the simulation whispered to cultural specialist Tara when they were alone. Earth's entire defense grid, all our weaknesses. Tara's response was immediate. Such information acquired through deception would poison any relationship between our peoples. Please return these files to your superiors. The simulation persisted, but Tara politely excused herself and reported the incident to Daniel Carter. From the control room, Alex watched in amazement. They could have gained a massive military advantage, and they refused. They're not just passing our tests, Lisa admitted. They're exceeding every expectation. That night, Ambassador Krell called for a private meeting with his team. Unknown to the monitoring station, the Zentari had their own advanced scanning technology. I've analyzed the molecular structure of these humans, Ven reported quietly. They're artificial constructs, highly advanced but not biological entities. Krell nodded slowly. Which means we're being tested. The real humans are observing us from somewhere. Should we confront them? Tara asked. Not yet, Krell decided. If they're testing us, they have their reasons. Let's give them what they're looking for. The next day, Ambassador Krell behaved as if nothing had changed. He participated in negotiations, responded to emotional outbursts with patience, and continued to refuse any information that could compromise Earth's security. But small things changed. He began asking questions that seemed innocent but were designed to test the limits of the simulation. When Daniel mentioned a childhood memory, Krell would ask for specific details that hadn't been programmed. Tell me more about your first pet, he would say. Or, what was your favorite book as a child? The simulations would answer, but the slight delay, the two perfect responses, confirmed what Krell already knew. In the control room, Lisa noticed the pattern. He knows, she whispered to Alex. He's known for at least a day, maybe longer. Then why hasn't he confronted us? Alex wondered. Lisa watched Ambassador Krell's calm, patient face on the screen. Maybe he's testing us right back. The diplomatic dinner had been going smoothly for the first hour. Simulated diplomats laughed at appropriate moments, shared stories about Earth culture, and discussed potential trade agreements with the Zentari delegation. Ambassador Krell waited for the right moment. When Daniel Carter stood to propose a toast to future cooperation between our peoples, Krell rose gracefully from his seat. "Before we continue," Krell said in his calm, measured voice, "I would like to share an observation." The room fell silent. Daniel lowered his glass, his programmed smile still in place. "During our time here," Krell continued, "we have witnessed many remarkable things about humanity. Your emotions, your creativity, your resilience in crisis. But we have also noticed patterns." Lisa tensed in the control room. "He's going to expose us." Alex put a hand on her shoulder. "Let it play out." Ambassador Krell walked slowly around the table. "Daniel, yesterday you mentioned your doctorate from Harvard University. Today you spoke of attending Oxford. Dr. Brooks, this morning you said you had no siblings. 3 days ago you told us about your sister's wedding." The simulated diplomats remained frozen, their programmed responses unable to handle this unexpected situation. "Marcus Chen," Krell continued, "during our first meeting you showed us pictures of your children. Yet today, when I asked about them, you seemed confused by the question." He stopped beside Daniel's chair. "These are not mistakes a species as advanced as humans would make. Unless, of course, you are not human at all." The silence in the room was absolute. Even the simulations had stopped their background movements. Krell looked directly at the corner of the room where the primary monitoring camera was hidden. "To those watching, I say this. We know this is a test. We have known for some time. The question is not whether we can detect your deception, but why you feel such deception is necessary." In the control room, Lisa's hands flew to her console. "Should I terminate the simulation?" "Wait," Alex said. He was watching Ambassador Krell with growing respect. Krell continued speaking to the camera. "We understand caution. We understand the need to protect your people. The Zentari have similar protocols. But true understanding between species cannot be built on lies, no matter how well-intentioned." He turned back to the simulated diplomats. "These constructs you've created are impressive. They've shown us much about human nature, your humor, your fears, your capacity for both conflict and compassion. But they are not you." Daniel Carter's face remained blank, his program unable to process this deviation from expected scenarios. "We passed your test days ago," Krell said softly. "Every crisis, every emotional outburst, every opportunity to exploit your weaknesses, we responded as we would to any sentient beings in need. Not because we knew we were being watched, but because that is who we are." He paused, his large eyes seeming to look directly into the hidden camera. "Now I believe it's time we met the real humans behind this elaborate facade." Lisa looked at Alex. "Protocol says we should terminate the simulation immediately and deny everything." Alex stood up straight. "Protocol be damned, he's right." Before Lisa could protest, Alex pressed the communication button. "Ambassador Krell, this is Commander Alex Forrest of the United Earth Defense Fleet. You are correct on all counts." The simulated diplomats suddenly powered down, their heads dropping forward as their programs were terminated. "Thank you for your honesty, Commander," Krell responded. "May I suggest we continue this conversation face to face?" Alex looked at Lisa, who slowly nodded. "We'd be honored, Ambassador. I'll come to you." Science Officer Venn stepped forward. "Commander, before you arrive, you should know something. We detected your observation post the moment we entered this system. We've been scanning your technology since day one." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "You knew all along?" "We suspected," Krell clarified. "But we wanted to give you the chance to reveal yourselves. Trust, Commander, must be earned on both sides." Alex removed his hand from the communication button. "They're more advanced than we thought," he told Lisa. She managed a weak smile. "And apparently more patient with our games than we deserve." "I'm going in," Alex decided. "Protocol or not, it's time for some real diplomacy." Alex entered the simulation chamber for the first time. The air felt different here, charged with artificial energy that maintained the holographic projections. 3 Zentari stood waiting, their tall forms casting long shadows in the now empty room. Ambassador Krell, Alex said, extending his hand. I'm Commander Alex Forrest. It's an honor to meet you properly. Krell studied Alex's outstretched hand for a moment, then grasped it with his 6-fingered grip. The honor is mine, Commander. Though I must ask, is this truly you, or another simulation? Alex smiled. I promise you, I'm as real as they come. Flesh, blood, and probably more nervous than I should be. Science Officer Venn stepped forward. We can verify his biological signature if you wish, Ambassador. That won't be necessary, Krell replied. I believe the commander speaks truthfully. Alex gestured to the chairs. Shall we sit? I owe you an explanation. As they settled around the table, Lisa's voice came through the intercom. Commander, Earth Defense is demanding a status report. They're not happy about your decision to reveal yourself. Tell them to wait, Alex responded. He turned to the Zentari. Our protocol was created after some difficult experiences with other species. Not all first contacts have gone well for humanity. We understand caution, Krell said. The Zentari have our own safeguards. We call it the Veil of Intent. When we meet new species, we present them with scenarios that test their true nature. Alex leaned forward. You test other species too? Indeed, though our methods are different. We create situations where a species must choose between their own benefit and the greater good. You humans would call them moral dilemmas. Cultural. Specialist Terra spoke up. Your species passed our test within the first 3 days. The way you handled conflicts among your simulated diplomats showed remarkable empathy. Alex felt a weight lift from his shoulders. So we've both been testing each other? It appears so, Krell smiled. Though I must commend your technology. These simulations are remarkable. Had it not been for small inconsistencies in their stories, we might never have detected them. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the station. Lisa's voice came through again, urgent this time. Commander, 3 Earth defense warships just dropped out of hyperspace. Admiral Winters is aboard the lead vessel. Alex stood quickly. I apologize, Ambassador. It seems my superiors disagree with my approach. Krell rose as well. Perhaps we can help. Would you permit us to speak with your admiral? Before Alex could respond, the main screen flickered to life. Admiral Winters' stern face appeared, his expression furious. Commander Forrest, you've violated every protocol we have. You've exposed Earth's primary defense strategy to an alien species we barely know. I'm relieving you of command immediately. Krell stepped forward. Admiral Winters, if I may? The Admiral's eyes narrowed. Ambassador Krell, I presume. Your presence here only confirms that our security has been compromised. Admiral, your security was never truly compromised, Krell explained calmly. We suspected your test from the beginning. We chose to participate because we wanted to demonstrate our trustworthiness, Venn added. We could have exposed your deception days ago. Instead, we played along, showing you exactly who we are through our actions. Admiral Winters remained silent for a moment. And what if you had failed our test? Then we would have accepted that humanity was not ready for contact, Krell replied. Just as you would have done if we had failed yours. Alex stepped beside Krell. Sir, they've shown nothing but patience and honor. They refused military secrets when offered. They helped during every crisis. They've earned our trust. The Admiral's expression softened slightly. This is highly irregular. As is true friendship. Between species, Krell said. Sometimes, Admiral, the greatest leaps forward require stepping outside our comfort zones. Lisa entered the room, holding a datapad. Admiral, I've compiled all the test results. The Zentari scored higher than any species we've ever evaluated. Their responses weren't just acceptable, they were exemplary. Admiral Winters studied the faces before him. His frustrated commander, the brilliant scientist, and the patient alien ambassador. Finally, he sighed. Very well. I'll convene the Security Council for an emergency session. Ambassador Krell, would you be willing to address them directly? Krell bowed slightly. It would be our pleasure, Admiral. Perhaps it's time for both our species to lower their veils. 2 weeks later, a new space station floated silently in orbit around Mars. Built as neutral ground, it would host the first genuine meeting between humans and Zentari. No simulations this time. Real diplomats, real conversations, real understanding. Alex stood at a viewport, watching Earth's blue marble in the distance. He wore his formal dress uniform, the reinstated commander's insignia gleaming on his collar. The Security Council had not only approved the summit, but promoted him for his unconventional but effective diplomatic breakthrough. Nervous? Lisa asked, joining him at the window. More excited than nervous, Alex replied. For the first time, we're meeting aliens as equals, not as test subjects or evaluators. The doors slid open, and Ambassador Krell entered, flanked by Ven and Tara. They wore ceremonial robes of flowing silver fabric that seemed to shift colors as they moved. Commander Forrest? Krell greeted warmly. Or should I say Director Forrest? Alex smiled. Just Alex is fine. We're past titles now, I think. Earth's real diplomatic team entered next. Unlike their simulated counterparts, these humans moved with genuine uncertainty and excitement. Their leader, Ambassador Sarah Conway, approached the Zentari with open curiosity rather than programmed responses. Ambassador Krell, Sarah said, I've read every report about your interactions with our simulations. I have to ask, what gave us away? Krell's large eyes crinkled with amusement. Many small things, but what truly confirmed our suspicions was how perfectly imperfect your simulations were. They displayed human emotions so accurately that it seemed rehearsed. Too human to be human? Sarah asked. Precisely. Real beings are less predictable, more complex. Your simulations showed us human nature as you understand it, which ironically revealed they weren't natural at all. As the formal proceedings began, both sides shared stories about their respective testing protocols. The humans learned that the Zentari had encountered 7 other spacefaring species, but only 3 had passed their veil of intent. What happened to the others? Sarah asked. We maintain distant but cordial relations, Van explained. Species that fail our test aren't enemies, merely not ready for close alliance. Perhaps in time they will be. During a break in negotiations, Alex found himself alone with Krell on an observation deck. May I ask you something personal? Alex said. Of course. When you realized our test was a simulation, why didn't you confront us immediately? Why play along? Krell was quiet for a moment. Because we saw something in your test that impressed us. You weren't trying to trick us into revealing weaknesses. You were trying to protect your people while still reaching out. That combination of caution and hope is rare in the galaxy. And now? Alex asked. What do you see in us now? Potential, Krell replied simply. Great potential. The summit continued for 3 days. Treaties were drafted, cultural exchange programs planned, and the foundations of a true alliance were laid. But the most significant moment came during the closing ceremony. Before we conclude, Krell announced, the Zentari wish to extend an invitation. We maintain a council of allied species, those who have passed our veil of intent and proven themselves worthy of trust. We would be honored if humanity would join this council. The room fell silent. This was more than anyone had expected. Sarah Conway stood slowly. Ambassador Krell, we accept your invitation with gratitude and humility. As applause filled the room, Alex caught Lisa's eye. She was crying, not the programmed tears of a simulation, but real human emotion at witnessing this historic moment. Later, as the Zentari prepared to depart, Krell took Alex aside one final time. You know, Krell said, there's something we didn't tell your Security Council. Oh? We've encountered one other species that detected our veil of intent. Like you, they chose to continue the test anyway. They're now our closest allies in the galaxy. Alex felt a surge of pride. So we're not alone in figuring it out? No, Krell smiled. But you're the first to admit it openly. That honesty, Commander, is why we believe this alliance will last. As the Zentari ship departed, Alex realized something profound. The greatest test wasn't about detecting deception or proving trustworthiness. It was about what happened after. The veils were lifted, when two species chose to see each other clearly and still extend their hands in friendship.